Ancient Egypt is one of the oldest and greatest civilizations in the world, which existed for over 3,000 years, around 3,100 BCE, 30 BCE, along the Nile River. Egypt was unified by the first pharaoh, Narmer, also known as Menes, and later went through periods of prosperity and decline. Its culture greatly influenced the further development of humanity, from architecture to science and religion. The Egyptians created an advanced writing system, hieroglyphs, built magnificent pyramids, temples, and tombs, believed in the immortality of the soul, and worshipped numerous gods, including Ra, Osiris, and Isis. But what interests us most are the pyramids themselves, and today we'll find out who built these majestic structures and how they were created. The predecessors of the pyramids were the so-called mastabas, a type of tomb built for the ancient Egyptian nobility during the early dynastic period, 3000 to 2800 BCE, and the Old Kingdom, 2800 to 2250 BCE. These structures were made of mud brick, rectangular in shape, with slightly sloping walls and a flat roof. This form of tomb preceded the step pyramids. In other words, the mastaba became the structural foundation for a new type of royal burial that appeared during the Third Dynasty, the pyramid. The word mastaba comes from the Arabic word meaning bench, as from a distance the tomb resembles a bench. This tomb design likely originated from elongated piles of stones placed over a ruler's grave to protect the body from thieves or wild animals. Tombs in the form of mastabas were built during the early kingdom and the first three dynasties. A mastaba consists of two parts: an underground section carved into the rock, and an above-ground part shaped like a truncated pyramid made of mud brick and faced with stone slabs. The entrance to the underground chamber was through a sloping passage or a shaft, 15 to 30 meters deep, which was sealed on the day of burial. The first pyramid, the step pyramid of Djoser, built around 2670 BCE, resembles several increasingly smaller layers stacked on top of each other. The pyramid was located in the Saqqara necropolis near Memphis, built not of mud brick but of limestone, and was dedicated to Sokar, the god of the dead. Its base measures 125 by 117 meters, and its height reaches 60 meters. The pyramid stands at the center of a complex of limestone structures surrounded by a stone wall over 9 meters high, enclosing an area of 277 by 545 meters, 14,600 square meters. The pyramid is step-shaped, consisting of 6 stacked mastabas, each smaller than the one below it, reaching a total height of about 62 meters. It is believed that the 6 steps of the pyramid were meant to help its owner, Pharaoh Djoser, ascend to the heavens after death. The pyramid was considered the pharaoh's home, so it was equipped as a place suitable for the living. Underground chambers were carved into the rock and decorated with artistic reliefs. One of the rooms even resembled the bathroom of a wealthy Egyptian's house, and special ventilation shafts allowed fresh air to circulate inside. To protect the structure from damage caused by rare but intense rainstorms, the pyramid steps were made slightly sloped rather than horizontal, so that rainwater could cascade down the sides. The designer of this pyramid was the famous architect and physician Imhotep, who was later deified by the Egyptians as the god of healing, the son of Ptah, the patron of arts and crafts, and identified by the Greeks with Asclepius. Imhotep is believed to have been the first to introduce stone construction, marking a major advancement in the history of architecture. The Pyramid of Meidum is an Egyptian pyramid located on the road to Fayum, about 100 kilometers south of Cairo. Its shape is unusual. It originally consisted of 7 steps, though only 3 are visible today. The structure was built from limestone blocks and was constructed for Pharaoh Huni, the last ruler of the Third Dynasty. His son Sneferu expanded and enlarged the pyramid by adding an 8th step and smoothing the sides to give it a true pyramid shape. The pyramid initially had a stepped form, which led to its Arabic name El Haram, El Kadab, the false pyramid. It consists of 5 visible steps and has been heavily damaged by erosion and by the removal of stone blocks by local residents, a process that continues to this day. Its original height is estimated to have been around 65 meters, but only a few meters of the base remain now. Some scholars believe that the pyramid may have served as a model or experimental structure before the construction of the larger pyramids. The Pyramid of Sneferu is a three-step tomb with very steep sides, standing 36.5 meters high. It was built by Sneferu, 2639 to 2604 BCE, the founder of the 4th dynasty. This pyramid represents a transitional form between earlier stepped pyramids and the later true pyramidal tombs. There are several theories explaining its unusual shape. According to the first theory, the pharaoh died unexpectedly, and the angle of the pyramid's sides was abruptly changed from 54 degrees 31 minutes to 43 degrees 21 minutes in order to complete the construction more quickly. According to another theory, the pyramid at Meidum and the southern pyramid at Dashur were being built at the same time, but a structural collapse occurred at Meidum, possibly after heavy rains caused the casing stones to fall away. This incident likely forced the builders to urgently reduce the angle of the sides of the Dashur pyramid when it was already about halfway completed. The Red Pyramid, also known as the Northern Pyramid, is the largest of the three major pyramids located in the Dashur necropolis. Its name comes from the reddish color of the limestone blocks, which take on a pink hue in the light of the setting sun. It is the third tallest pyramid in Egypt, after the pyramids of Khufu and Khafra at Giza. It did not always have its current color. Originally, its sides were covered with white limestone casing. However, most of this covering is now gone, as much of it was removed during the Middle Ages to build houses in Cairo, revealing the reddish limestone beneath. This pyramid is attributed to Pharaoh Sneferu, as his name was found written in red paint on several of the casing stones. The Northern Pyramid of Sneferu at Dashur, built in the 26th century BCE, was the tallest structure on Earth at the time, 109.5 meters. It is also considered the world's first successful attempt at constructing a true, smooth-sided pyramid, having a proper geometric shape, although its sides are slightly less steep, with an angle of 43 degrees 22 minutes, compared to the later standard of 51 degrees 52 minutes. It also has an unusually low slope for its height, with a base measuring 218.5 by 221.5 meters. The pyramid's total volume is about 1,694,000 cubic meters. An entrance on the north side leads through an inclined passage down into three connected chambers, each about 17 meters high, which are open to visitors today. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, Cheops, is the largest of all the Egyptian pyramids, and the only one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world that has survived to this day. It is one of the 3 most famous pyramids on the Giza Plateau: Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. The pyramid is located on the west bank of the Nile, in the necropolis of the city of Giza, and is part of a complex of ancient monuments that, during the time of the Egyptian pharaohs, belonged to the ancient city of Memphis, today part of Greater Cairo. In terms of monumentality and craftsmanship, it surpasses all other pyramids in Egypt. Most Egyptologists believe that the pyramid was built around 2560 BCE and served as the tomb of the 4th dynasty Egyptian pharaoh Khufu, Cheops. However, no inscriptions have been found regarding the exact date of construction of this grand monument, so there are alternative theories about the dating and purpose of the Great Pyramid. Radiocarbon dating indicates a construction period between 2840 and 2680 BCE. In terms of geometry, the structure is a 4-sided equilateral pyramid. Its sides are precisely aligned with the 4 cardinal points, with an accuracy of up to 3 arc minutes. The pyramid, built of 2.3 million stone blocks, with a total weight of about 7 million tons, originally stood 146.6 meters tall, equivalent to a 50-story skyscraper, with a base length of 233 meters. At first, the pyramid had a square base with sides of 233 meters, an area of 54,289 square meters, and a height of 146.6 meters. Due to the removal of casing stones, long ago taken for reuse, the loss of the pyramid's upper masonry, and partly because of the rising sand level, the present dimensions are 227.5 meters, 51,756 square meters, and 137 meters in height. The sloping edges measure 173 meters, and the pyramid's volume is about 2.6 million cubic meters. The very process of designing and constructing such a grand monument required remarkable knowledge and experience from the ancient Egyptian engineers. The planning and building involved the finest architects and stonemasons of ancient Egypt. About 2.3 million blocks of Middle Eocene nummulitic clay limestone were used in the construction, arranged in 210 tiers, today 203. The average weight of a single block is 2.5 tons, with the heaviest reaching 7.5 tons. The total weight of the pyramid amounts to 5.7 million tons. The pyramid's casing of polished decorative white limestone has not survived, nor has the structure's summit, once covered with sheets of gold. One of the greatest mysteries of the Great Pyramid is the question of how such a monumental structure was designed and built. How were the massive stone blocks transported to the construction site, lifted, and so precisely placed one atop another? Some insights into the methods of pyramid construction in ancient Egypt are provided by reliefs from the tomb of the official T in Saqqara, dating to the 4th dynasty, 2489 to 2345 BCE. These depict groups of workers using ropes and special sledges to set up large obelisks and statues. According to Herodotus, who was the first to describe the pyramids in detail, 100,000 slaves were employed in the construction of the Pyramid of Khufu. However, recent findings cast doubt on this claim. Most likely, the pyramids were built by peasants who were free from agricultural work during the annual flooding of the Nile. The construction of the pyramids was probably a kind of labor duty. Over the past 20 years, archaeologists have uncovered the workers' settlement, where the builders of the pyramid lived. It was separated from the sacred part of the plateau, where the Great Pyramids are located, by a wall. The village contained 2 bakeries, a fish drying facility, and even a brewery. From the inscriptions and drawings found in the builders' settlement, it can be assumed that the workers were organized into teams, which even engaged in something resembling socialist competitions. Each team was led by a foreman. The remains of deceased builders found in the cemetery of this settlement indicate that during their lifetimes they engaged in heavy physical labor. Despite this evidence, the very method of constructing the pyramid remains a mystery to this day. For example, it is still unknown exactly how the stone blocks were lifted onto the pyramid. During excavations, walls were discovered that may have served as supports for an inclined ramp used to haul the blocks upward. However, since excavations at the site are still ongoing, it is too early to draw definitive conclusions. Until recently, it was believed that the pyramid was built in 20 years. However, after reviewing the records of ancient Egyptian priests, which stated that Khufu ruled for 50 years, his son Khafra for 56 years, and Khufu's great-grandson Menkaura for 63 years, it can be assumed that the pyramid may have taken around 40 years to build. Most likely, the construction lasted 32 years, which would be consistent with its enormous scale and Egypt's relatively small population at that time. In ancient Egypt, pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs, rulers who were regarded as gods on earth. The Egyptians believed that after death, the pharaoh would pass into the afterlife and continue to rule from there. The main reasons for building pyramids were tomb for the pharaoh. The pyramid served as the place where the pharaoh's body, mummy, and his treasures were kept, so that he could use them in the afterlife. Symbol of ascension to the gods. The pyramid's shape, with its pointed top, symbolized the ascent of the pharaoh's soul to the sky, to Ra, the sun god. Expression of power and authority, the pyramids demonstrated the strength, wealth, and divine status of the pharaoh. Religious significance. The construction of pyramids was a sacred act, involving thousands of workers, priests, and architects. Preservation of memory. The pyramids served as eternal monuments to the pharaoh, ensuring that his name would never be forgotten in history. Of course, these are not all the pyramids. There were also the Pyramid of Djedefre, the Pyramid of Khafre, the Pyramid of Menkaure, the Mastaba of Shepsiskaf, the Pyramid of Userkaf, and many others. However, if we tried to cover every single pyramid, this video would stretch to an hour in length, and few people would find that interesting. That is why we focused on the most famous pyramids, which made an incredible contribution to the development of ancient Egyptian architecture. With the end of the 4th dynasty, the construction of pyramids by Egyptian kings did not cease, but their size and quality declined significantly. Most of them today resemble little more than sandy mounds. The ancient Egyptians stopped building pyramids for several reasons: religious, economic, political, and security related. The main ones were changes in religious beliefs. During the New Kingdom, after 1550 BCE, views on the afterlife shifted. Pharaohs began to be buried in hidden tombs in the Valley of the Kings to protect their bodies and treasures. They believed that the most important thing was not a grand monument, but the proper rituals and texts within the tomb. Enormous cost of construction. Building pyramids required colossal resources, tens of thousands of workers, vast quantities of stone, food, and materials. Egypt's economy could not continuously sustain such expenses, especially as the state weakened. Security issues and looting. Almost all pyramids were looted, sometimes even in antiquity. This showed that monumental tombs attracted thieves. As a result, pharaohs chose to build hidden burial places to safeguard their wealth. Political instability. After the Old Kingdom, periods of decline began. The pharaoh's power weakened, the country fragmented into regions, and large centralized projects like pyramids became impossible. Shift in architectural traditions. Instead of pyramids, temples dedicated to the gods, especially Amun-Ra, began to be built. This reflected a new religious concept. The pharaoh was not only a god on earth, but also a servant of the gods. Thus, the Egyptians stopped building pyramids not because they forgot how, but because circumstances and their worldview had changed. This was Echo of History. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like.